Hi everyone, I'm Shane Fry. I'm the head football coach at West Lafayette High School. I'm also our offensive coordinator there, and today I'm going to be talking about our no-huddle offense. We are blessed at West Lafayette High School to have 10 coaches on staff. This is a list of our offensive coaches. We have 5 offensive coaches. I'm the coordinator and I coach the QBs. I've got my email up right there if anybody has any questions, especially in the winter. Feel free to shoot me an email and I can get back to you. Coach Kelly Kitchell has our offensive line. John Speaker, our wide receivers. Josh Whistle is the coach of our H-backs, which for us, the position is Y. And Aaron Wood coaches our running backs. And they all do a fantastic job coaching, and it makes my life a lot easier. So a little background about our school and our football program. We play in the Hoosier Conference, which is made up of 10 teams with enrollments that vary from a 1A school all the way to a 4A school. We've got about 688 kids, 9 through 12, and that puts us in 3A. We have a proud tradition at West Lafayette, 13 sectional championships, 8 regional championships, 4 semi-states, and then we were state champs in 1993 and 2009. The last 9 years at West Lafayette have been really, really good for us. Our program is taking off, and we've got a lot of great players that have come through. And as you can see there, the last 9 years, we've been very successful. Just an overview of what I'm going to talk about today on our no-huddle. I'm not going to get a lot into X's and O's or anything like that. There'll be a little X's and O's, but more of the logistics and how we operate and how we run the no-huddle. So we're going to be talking about some of our stats that really opened our eyes to why this would be a good idea, the philosophy of our no-huddle, the method, which is what most people are interested in. There's a lot of people that say they're a no-huddle team, but until you know exactly how to run the no-huddle and how you're going to do it, it's tough to operate. So I'm going to talk about our method. I'm going to talk about the numerous benefits, I think, for running the no-huddle. I'll get more specific with our offense, and then we'll talk about our package plays, and we'll show some video at the end. So some statistics here. From 2010 to 2012, 28-9, 76%, that is a good winning percentage. But the reason why I put this up here is because in 2008 and 2009, we had outstanding quarterback play, and they made up pretty much, 95% of the offense. And while we won a lot of games and we won went undefeated, won the state championship in 2009, our quarterback was actually Mr. Football, the #1 player in the state of Indiana. So while our offense was good, it was also heavily dominated by great players. What we found out in 2010 to 2012, when we no longer had those kids, those 2 quarterbacks, was we became very, very average on offense. We struggled. Not many points per game, not many yards per game. Our plays per game, which we'll talk about, we broke 3 offensive school records in 3 years there. So fast forward 2013, we wanted to switch some things around. Our offense needed a jump start. From 2010 to 2012, we thought we had some pretty good teams. And just for whatever reason, our offense wasn't getting it done. And even though the record was solid, as I said, we knew we needed a jump start on our offense. So 2013 came in. We met in the offseason before the 2013 season. We said, we've got to do something. We want to go to no-huddle, but we got to figure out how to do it. So how do we run the no-huddle? And we spent the entire offseason researching it, talking to our own players, figuring out how can we do this. And so just to give you a snapshot of what it's been since we've went to the no-huddle, 53-12 record, 82% winning. And just look at the jumps from those stale years of offense to what we're doing now. 42 points per game now, 468 yards per game, 68 plays per game, which that's an enormous jump. And then we've broke 39 offensive school records in the last 5 years. So we like what this has done for us. It's done exactly what we wanted it to. We needed a kickstart. we needed the offense to be a little bit more exciting and get us going. So it has done that. Our philosophy on the no-huddle, we like acronyms, and if you read that down there, that's FAST. It's fun. Players absolutely love our system. Everyone that comes into our system wants to be a part of this no-huddle. It's kind of what everybody's seeing on TV right now. They like it. It's, I would say, a little more new school, and our players really identify with that. More touches, okay? 7 players with a rushing touchdown and 7 players with a receiving touchdown. That was this season. That is a lot of players. If you take a look at most teams' stats, I would say maybe 3 to 5 total players are scoring the touchdowns. We've had this many different players score touchdowns, and that excites guys because, they know they're not that wide receiver that's just a token wide receiver out there that's not going to get the ball. They're going to get the ball. They're going to be able to score. And most of all, it is a fast-paced world right now. I know, just talking to a teenage kid or one of our players, they can't go 5 minutes without picking up their cell phone and checking Twitter and Snapchat and all that stuff. So they don't want to huddle. They don't want to have to run to the sideline, get a play from the coach, run all the way back out, get in the huddle, talk about it. Heck, they probably forget it by that time anyway. They want their information right now, and they want to go. So this fits in, we think, with the type of kid that we have at West Lafayette High School and the type of kid we have in our football program. Attack. We want to attack at all times. We do not want to react. We want to attack. And when we're on offense, we want to make the defense uncomfortable. So that's what our no-huddle does. Run-pass balance. Last 5 years, we've been 240 yards per game rushing, 228 passing. The reason for that is we want to be able to do whatever the defense allows us to do, okay? When I was in high school, my senior year, I thought, I played at Lakeland High School. I thought we had a really good team. We went undefeated through the regular season, run the ball, run the ball, run the ball, run the ball, run the ball. What we didn't realize was there was more talented teams than us out there. We ran it up against a very talented team in the sectional championship, and we got destroyed. We couldn't really pass the ball. We didn't have any balance. We were run, run, run. So since then, I've kind of brought the philosophy with us and that we have now at West Lafayette is we've got to be able to do both. If the defense is going to stack the box, we absolutely have to be able to pass it. If they're going to cover 8 and they're going to spread the field and they're going to lock up on the outside and we don't have guys that can beat man coverage out there, then we have to be able to run the ball. And we don't know what we're going to have year to year. So balance is so important to us. And then physical. A lot of times when you're talking about no huddle and you're talking about spread offenses, people think all you do is throw passes, that you are a very finesse at playing football, and that's not us, and our kids know that that's not us. We are physical. If we have to run the ball 55 times in a game, we'll run the ball 55 times in the game. Does not matter to us, and our kids buy into that, and we are always physical up front. Simple. I think this is so important. We have very few schemes, very few plays, and if you've seen us play, you probably don't think that because it looks intricate. It looks it looks complicated, but really for our guys, it's not. We simplify it. Quarterback and O-line friendly. It's absolutely amazing how easy it is for our quarterback and for our O-linemen to do this. Our junior high runs the exact same thing we do at the high school level. They run at the junior high level, and what that does, it not only helps them at the junior high level, it's fun, gets more people interested in the game, but when they get to high school, they know it. They know the system. They know their alignment. They know what position lines up where. They know a ton of our plays. So it's really helpful for our junior high to be able to translate and come to high school and already be ready to go. Tempo. We play fast. We have rules as far as where we get the ball, which official we get the ball to, how we line up to make sure our guys are playing as fast as they possibly can play. This is not a check with me system. A lot of no-huddle teams get to the line real fast. They don't snap it real fast. They want to check with me. They want the offensive coordinator to look around at the defense, make the checks, or the quarterback look around, make the checks. That's not us. This is not a check with me system. This is get to the line and snap it as fast as you can, run as many plays in the game as you can, attack the defense. The coaches can slow down, the players can't. So the players always will be ready to snap the ball immediately. If for some reason we do need to slow down, a situation in a game where we need to take some time off the clock, then we just don't call the play in right away. But the players don't know that. The players are expecting the play to get called in immediately, and so they're ready to run it. All right, the method that we use for the no-huddle. We are the wristband method. Every player on our team gets a wristband. It's part of our player pack at the beginning of every season. So everyone has it. We don't have to worry about that. Skill players and offensive linemen have different inserts, and I'll explain that a little bit later in the presentation. For us, this is absolutely the easiest and fastest method that we believe works for us. Other people do it different ways, and that's fine. Different people do hand signals. Different teams scream out plays. We like the wristband method. And what we did when we came up with this, also I have on there 25 to 30 seconds on play clock. We have a 40-second play clock in Indiana. The officials, what they say, the 40-second clock starts as soon as the play is over. So the officials say that they take between 8 and 10 seconds to get the ball set while that play clock is running. So if you do the math, when they set that ball down, we are allowed to snap it. So there's about 32, 31, 30 seconds when they put the ball down. We're snapping the ball with 25 to 30 seconds on the play clock, meaning we are ready to snap the ball as the official puts it down. So we can go as fast as they allow us to go, and we can go as fast as we are calling the plays. Our players are always ready to snap the ball at that time. Okay, next I'll talk about what we feel like are some major benefits of running no-huddle. Fun and exciting, and I'm sure you've heard that before, but really since we've started running this system, it is so exciting because there are big plays everywhere and you don't know when they're going to happen. We might run 2 or 3 plays in a row, 1-yard gain, 2-yard gain, basic things, but something's going to pop at some time, and the plays happen so fast that everyone seems to be engaged. Everyone is watching. Our sideline always up. The defense is ready because they know we can score real quick, but they also know that they can be back on the field real quick also. So it is very exciting. A lot of action, like I talked about before. That's what kids want. They want action. They want to be involved. And so it has been very fun and exciting for our offense. More players are involved. I showed the stat where 7 players caught touchdowns, 7 players rushed for touchdowns this season. Everyone is important. Our O-line, even though they're the ones not scoring the touchdowns, they get into this system so much because they have to be able to go the whole time. When we're in practice, we might run 90, 95 plays on a Tuesday practice, and while all the skill guys are subbing in and out, really we don't have that many offensive linemen to sub in and out, and we're not switching from defense to offense, so they don't get a break. They run all those plays. They are in such good shape, and they take pride in that. So they love this system because what we tell them is it's going to be so much easier in the second half. The defense wears down. All of a sudden, they're not getting in a stance. We have that stamina to keep playing, and it gets easier on them, and they feed off that. Sub often. We don't sub often during a series because we're going so fast, but we have a ton of guys that play. We'll go 2, 3 deep at wide receiver positions. The running back will always get some breaks just because we play so many plays a game that it is nice to be able to get other guys a series here and there, give a guy a break, give some other guys some experience. So that's a nice part of it. Practice is so efficient. We practice for an hour and a half. That's it. There is no downtime, and the kids love that. They know what they're getting. Everything we do is on film on practice. That's one of the best things we've done. I used to always hate whether it was me coaching when I was younger or when I was playing, when a coach would stop practice and he would go out and he would move people around and show everybody, you should have went here, you should have went here, we need to be up in here. And that whole process takes 5 or 10 minutes, and we feel like you just lose the kids. They're not listening anymore. So we don't say anything during practice. We go through our script and we get an hour and a half in. Every station is how many ever minutes. We go from drill to team, and practice is over. At 5:30 it's done. We've filmed it, so we'll stay after practice. Coaches will cut that film. We'll see some great things. We'll see some awful things. We send those out to the guys, and so instead of stopping practice and showing them, we saw something went wrong. here it is on the film. We send out the clips, and then we talk to the guys the next day. They'll send us a message. They got the clips. They'll look them over. They'll see their mistakes, and we correct from film rather than stopping practice. And what we feel like really would be boring to the kids, and just they kind of get in a lull. They want to go boom, boom, boom. It's okay to make mistakes. In this system, you're going to make mistakes. We'll catch it on film, and we'll go from there. The hidden conditioning is outstanding, and the guys really appreciate this because after our offensive practices, we don't need to run. We don't need to do gassers. We don't need to do any extra conditioning. They don't realize it because they're always engaged, but they've got more conditioning in a Tuesday practice than they would any time ever if we stopped in the middle or ran at the beginning. It is a lot of conditioning involved in an offensive practice just by getting that much done in an hour and a half. I already talked about this. Our junior high follows the exact same system. So for us, it's kind of interesting where our football stadium is not at our high school. It's a few miles away at a complex. So on Mondays, we're at our high school for film. So we have all our guys in there. We do film, then we lift in our high school weight room, and then we go out and condition on the junior high football field. So the junior high is there practicing. So our high school coaches are in the middle of the junior high practice, plus we're running conditioning for the high school kids. We could stop the junior high practice and have the junior high offense. We'd call a formation. They would get in the exact varsity formation. We could call a varsity play. They would be able to run the play just like that, and we can see that every Monday we go out there. They are so ready to be in our offense when they come from that 8th grade year to the 9th grade year that it has been a tremendous help to us. And I just think it gets those guys ready to play so much quicker, and they understand the offense. The absolute biggest thing we think about on offense, for our offense, and I heard this at a clinic long, long ago, and I love it. I wrote it down. And whenever we're in the summer, I'm writing things down, or we're in the season, I'm thinking about things. We always think about this. Players, formations, plays. That's what we live by. When we're running our offense, we first have to think about our players. Who needs to have the ball in their hands? It's our job to figure out a way to get our athletes the ball. Whether that's handing them the ball, whether that's throwing them the ball, whether it's throwing downfield, whether it's throwing behind the line of scrimmage, doesn't matter. We've got to figure out a way to get our playmakers the ball. That's the most important thing for this offense. Next most important is formations. Not every formation works against every team. That's why we do so much film study and scouting and preparing for the next team. We got to figure out what formation is going to work. What formations can we run so our guys can be successful? What's going to work and why? We're not just going to make a formation, throw it in there, and say this is what we're going to use this week. There's going to be a reason why we're going to use certain formations, depending on the team's front or how they like to blitz or what kind of coverage they play behind. We've got to get the formations right. So that's very important. And then plays. A lot of people, and I'm as guilty as anyone. You look at a team and you say, well, this play ought to work. Well, you don't know exactly who you're going against. It might look great on paper, but if they've got a better guy across on the other side of the ball, it's not going to work. So that's why we play it in this order: players, formations, then plays. It's been successful for us. Whenever my head's spinning and the other offensive coaches, and we get in our meeting on Sunday and we can't figure things out, we always go back to this: players, formations, plays. We got to figure out how to get our best players the ball. Okay, so our offense, a little background on myself. I am now our offensive coordinator, but before I took over as the head coach in 2013, I was the defensive coordinator at our school for 4 years. Before that, I always thought of myself as an offensive guy. I always coached quarterbacks. I was an offensive coordinator at the middle school level. Then I got to the high school level, coached our freshman team, coached quarterbacks, coached wide receivers. So I'd always been on offense. Well, then all of a sudden our head coach back in 2009 said, hey, why don't you call the defense? You'd be the varsity defensive coordinator. And obviously I said yes. I was very nervous about it. I wasn't a defensive guy. I had to do a lot of research, a lot of studying, got with our assistant coaches, and we figured it out. But in hindsight, that's probably the best thing that ever happened to me as an offensive coordinator. And if I were to give any younger coach any advice, I would say, if it's possible, coach the other side of the ball for at least a season or more, and it will open your eyes to so many things on on your natural side of the ball. So me being a defensive coordinator for 4 years, what I found out was then coming to the offensive side of the ball, we're going to do what, as a defensive coordinator, I did not want to see. That's going to kind of be how we make our offense. The things we do are all things that me as a defensive coordinator, I would not have wanted to see. So it makes it a lot easier to call offense. It makes it a lot easier to format our offense, having had experience on the defensive side of the ball. So our skill positions, the way we identify and label our skill positions, our X and our Z, those are our two outside wide receivers. Kind of the bio on them is, we tell them this all the time: if they cannot block, they can't play. It doesn't matter anything else. We don't care. Absolutely, the first most important thing for our outside receivers, our X and Z, is they have to be able to block. And you'll see on film, we think they do a pretty good job of it because they know they're not going to be able to get out on the field if they can't block. The number two criteria for our outside receivers is they have to have a little bit of speed. They have to be able to blow the top off of coverage. They need to be able to separate. And then number three is catch the ball, which, a lot of times you think, well, your wide receivers have to catch. Well, for us, it's much more important that they block than they catch. So they know that, and we work on it a ton. And our wide receiver coach, John Speaker, does an outstanding job at getting those guys to block and buy in and understand that they're the difference between a 5-yard gain and a 60-yard gain sometimes. So they do a great job of blocking. Our H is our slot wide receiver. Again, he absolutely has to be able to block. So many of our plays, with the guys we have, again, might be 5-6 yard gain. However, if we get a few key blocks on the outside, we can spring for long touchdowns. We can spring for 60-yard plays, and that's our wide receivers blocking a lot of the time. Number two for our slot, RH, he's a dynamic playmaker. In the past, that's been our guy. He'll probably have our most receptions every year. That's the guy that we can hand the ball to, we can throw it to. Always a playmaker there at that position. Our Y, a lot of people call him an H-back. For us, he's a Y. He's a hybrid. Wide receiver, tight end, running back, fullback. He's got to be a blocker. It doesn't matter. Sometimes we'll have a Y that can really catch the ball, and we'll cater to that. Sometimes we have a Y that can carry the ball a little bit. Sometimes we have a Y that is good at both, which is great. But number one, first and foremost, they've got to be able to block. We're fortunate enough, we platoon for the most part. We've got an entirely different offense than we have a defense. Now there's some guys, like a starting linebacker might be a backup Y, things like that. So they practice on both sides of the ball. But the guys know that in order to be able to play on our offense, they've got to be able to block. Our T is our running back position. He's our primary ball carrier. Going into a game, a lot of times I'll get asked by different people, oh, you think you'll run the ball? How many carries is so-and-so going to get? We never know. We're a big zone read team, so we don't know exactly how many times the running back's going to get the ball. It all depends. We also don't know if the other team is going to put 8 in the box. The running back's not going to get many carries because we're just going to throw it. So never really know how many carries he's going to get, but he is our primary ball carrier. And then our quarterback. We've had some great quarterbacks the last 5 years. We've had some good runners. We've had some good throwers. Their strengths have been different, but one constant is all of our quarterbacks have been good decision makers, and that's what you need to be in this offense. You need to determine where to get the ball. Formations are very simple for us. We have 2 base 2x2s and 2 base 3x1s. Obviously, all of our guys know those in their sleep. And then what we can do with those base formations is we can build off those, and we can condense, we can stack if we need to, we can run unbalanced, but it's really simple just to piggyback off those base formations. And then we get into situations, game planning for a week, that we will invent things. We'll come up with a certain formation that isn't one of our formations, but we want to have it because it'll work. We see what the other team's going to do, and we're going to try that. Or me being a defensive coordinator, what I would do is I'd take the 2 game films that on our opponent, and we would track every single formation. We'd make sure we were prepared for every single formation. So every once in a while, we'll show a formation that we have no intent in using ever again, just to make that defensive coordinator for the next couple weeks think about it and have to be prepared to defend it. even though we're probably not going to ever use it again. That takes away from their game planning time, and that is an advantage to us when we're playing that fast on offense. Our schemes and our plays, we have very, very few. That's why it is so simple for our O-linemen and for our quarterbacks. Our O-linemen, they're different blocking schemes. We have 3 runs, 2 passes, and 1 screen. They basically have 6 different schemes that they block, and then the direction. So it is very simple for them. The reason why I put there is they have no idea what is going on, is because if you remember at the beginning of this, I said skill players get an entirely different risk coach than offensive line players. So the play clump comes in on a skill player's risk coach. It might be outside zone to the right. It might be sweep right. On the offensive lineman's risk coach, we might not be blocking it that way. We might be blocking inside zone to the left, and we're reading the play side in that way. So what that has done is made our offensive line always have to execute the scheme and the direction. In the past, I've seen where, we're going to run off tackle to the right. Well, the left side sometimes feels like, well, they're running right, might take a play off. In our system, you can't take a play off because our O-linemen do not know where the ball is going to end up. All it says on their risk coach is the scheme and the direction that they have to block. They don't know what's going on in the backfield. We run block a lot of times when we pass the ball. And as illegal as that sounds for some people, you'll see how we do it here on some of the film, and it's really not. This is a very good way to do it for us. It's worked. Sometimes our O-linemen are very surprised. They say, Coach, it said inside zone, and all of a sudden you guys threw it downfield. I just say, don't worry about it. You're doing the right thing. Keep blocking whatever your risk coach says. So it has been a very good thing for us, and it works really well. All right, what we've learned in 5 years of running this, we feel like we've made some major strides. It has been a learning experience for us. It has not all been great, but we feel like every year we've been able to add or eliminate things that need to be added or eliminated, tweak things in order to make it better. And the only way you're going to find those things out is by experience. So some of the things that come to mind right away is the bad. And as you can see, the good far outweighs the bad. These are just some highlight things that we've done. First of all, on the bad, you have to know and be willing to accept that you are going to call some awful plays. It's just going to happen. We have seen every defense known to man. A lot of times, and you'll see when I show you the video, unless it's the first play of a series, the defense is very rarely set up. They're always on the move, trying to get lined up correctly. So what that does is sometimes one side of the defensive line might have 4 people on it, and on the left-hand side there might not be anybody because they're mixed up. They don't know what side to go to. Well, we've already called the play. Like I said, we're not a check with me team, so I'm not going to see, hey, nobody's on the left, let's run it to the left. We've already called our play. So if they happen to be in that spot, they're all stacked up there, we might run right into it and get a 3-yard loss. And it's really funny because you hear all the boos from the stands, and everyone that knows how to call plays in the stands say, oh, why in the world wouldn't they ran it left? No one was over there. Well, I guess if they're watching this video, now they know why we didn't, because we've already called the play. So we've also played a ton of plays against 10 players. They'll try to make a sub. They can't. All of a sudden, we'll go down the field, and there'll be an uncovered receiver. We'll throw a touchdown, and everyone's kind of looking back because the speed is so fast. What just happened? And then we don't even realize it at the time. We'll see it on the film. Well, they only had 10 players on the field. We also have played against 12 players. We've played against 13 players. Sometimes it gets flagged. Sometimes it doesn't. The moral of the story is, the very few schemes that we run help us because the defenses are just going to vary. Sometimes they get lined up correctly. Sometimes they don't. They're going to be all over the place. We have to be able to block our schemes, know our rules, and do what we do no matter how they're lined up. But you have to know that there will be some ugly, awful play calls that happen with this offense. Also, 3 and out before the defense has time to sit down. Okay, we have literally been out on offense, incomplete, 3-yard gain, whatever, and we punt it, and our defense has just got over, barely got a water bottle in their hand, and they have to go back out there on defense. Now, hopefully this doesn't happen too often, but it does happen because of the speed. If you're getting first downs and you're scoring, it's great, but if you go into a little lull at some point, your 3 and outs are going to happen pretty quick and your defense is going to be tired. Thankfully, like I said, we platoon, so at least it's not the same players going from offense to defense. The good, there's a ton of good things that have happened, but some of the highlight things here are there's only one speed for our players. The very first year when we started this in 2013, we had the idea that we're going to come up with 4 different speeds for this offense. We're going to have a hyper speed where we just go like maniacs as fast as we can. We're going to have a more controlled high tempo. We're going to have a check with me system, and then we're going to have a slow down system. What we found out with that is that it didn't work, because then every possession you'd have half the guys, okay, we're going to be in 3rd gear this time. Coach, I thought we were in 2nd gear. Oh, I thought we were in 4th gear. Nobody's on the same page. It's really hard to monitor. Everybody's always asking what gear are we in, how fast do we go. So I don't even think that lasts a whole year. I think we switched that in the middle of 2013. There are no gears. All our players know is we're going at the top possible speed that we can. They are lined up immediately and they are ready to snap the ball as soon as that ball goes down. It's the coach's job to determine the speed. If we want them to go at that top breakneck speed, the play has to be called in instantly. If we want to slow down, maybe we have a big lead, maybe we're running out the clock, we won't call the play in that fast, but they will still be lined up ready to get the play. So that has helped us a ton to just not give the players options. For all they know, we're going to snap it immediately. They need to be ready to snap it immediately. Wears teams down. I've heard every no-huddle clinic I've ever been to, you hear the coach say that it really wears teams down. But until you see it and operate at that speed, it doesn't really register. You're not sure if you believe it. Doesn't really wear teams down. I can certainly tell you that teams, especially that do not have a lot of depth on defense, those guys get tired. And if you keep making first downs at that speed, a simple inside zone play or something simple that looks like a 1, 2, 3 yard gain can easily turn into touchdown, because tackling decreases, their alertness decreases, everything on the defense as you keep running that many plays and at that speed, it just really wears them down. And that's been a huge plus for us the last 5 years. QB and O-line play. Our QBs, I don't have an exact stat for this, but they've been just outstanding for us for 5 years. And I think one of the main reasons they've been so good, obviously they have a lot of talent, but this system is so simple. They are able to just play free. Whatever the play is called, they don't have to worry about relaying calls to anyone else. They get the play, they operate the play, they execute the play. We don't have a lot of variation in what we do. They're able to get really good at the few schemes we do, and they've been outstanding. Same with our O-line. With only the 6 schemes that we block, like I said, we see about every defense. It doesn't matter because they have rules for whatever they see. And we block inside zones so much that you could line up. We've seen everything. We've seen 5-man fronts. We've seen 6-man fronts. We've seen linebackers stacked on defensive tackles in what looks like a 2-man front. We've seen everybody lined up on the right. We've seen everybody it doesn't matter. They've seen it. They've blocked it. It's very easy for them. Something else that I really like, and this was a struggle for us coming up with this in 2013 before the season started. None of us had an idea on how are we going to have a hard count, or how are we going to be able to go on 2. In a no-huddle offense, that's hard to do. So we came up with this. We don't go on 2 ever. We have the exact same snap count every single play. And what happens is we'll see it. Some coaches will see it up top, is once the defense starts stealing that snap count and realizing what it is, we'll run what we call freeze. I've got some video on it. I'm going to show you. All it is it's a play we call, and they check out the wrist coach, and it says freeze. And what freeze means is there is no play called. So we're going to go ahead and run our cadence with no play. We've never jumped offsides on it, obviously, because there's nothing to go block and there's no play to run because it's not a play. But I would say almost, 75, 85, 95% of the time when we run freeze, the opponents jump on it because They have our snap count down. They're used to it. They start getting off the ball a lot quicker. We run freeze, and we get them. Okay, so all we have here in the course of us playing, we've noticed, somebody's noticed that they're starting to get, their defensive ends are starting to get aggressive. They're starting to know the snap count. A lot of times our offensive linemen tell us, Coach, we got to run freeze a couple times. They're starting to get off the ball. Okay, we'll do that. So we just called it in, snap it, there they go. That's not a hard count. That's our snap count. There's just no play called. Here we are again, down in the red zone. We really like this in the red zone. Hard count, defensive ends jumping across. Again, this is most of the time, this is either a coach seeing that they're starting to really get off the ball, or the offensive lineman telling us, hey, they're starting to get off the ball. Now, there's been a ton of games where we never use freeze because sometimes as the defense wears down, they're not getting off the ball very fast, so there's no reason to use it. Here's another freeze. We throw in motion every once in a while. It's a motion we've ran throughout the game, run the same motion, no play called. They jump, we don't. Free 5 yards. This was a 3rd and short. We were able to get the first down. So the freeze play, that has been good for us, something we've developed over the 5 years. Been able to mix up the snap count, get a free 5 yards on that without having to be complex and call different snap counts. We're able to keep one snap count but still be able to use it as a hard count. The bubble screen. Bubble screen has been huge for us. This was one of the first things that we went to year one, be able to just spread out the field. Okay, a couple things you're going to notice here. The way we teach our wide receivers is a little bit different than I think I've seen most places. Our outside foot is forward for our wide receivers. All of our wide receivers are like that. The number one reason why we do this is we think it's easier on our bubble screens, the way we come out of our stance and backpedal for our bubbles. But also year one in the offseason before we started, as we were asking the quarterback what his preferred method of calling plays was, what was the easiest way to get plays in, and we came up with the wristbands. This was also a question we had for our wide receivers. What are you most comfortable with? How is your stance the most comfortable? How are you the most comfortable getting into your back pedal and getting this bubble screen? And they tried it both ways, and everyone ultimately said outside foot forward, we feel more comfortable. So as coaches, we wanted to make sure our kids were comfortable and able to execute this, and if it's outside foot forward, it's outside foot forward. So that's how we line up. You'll see this. Another thing you'll notice right away is this first bubble screen we show, our kid false starts and they don't call it, which is fine. So what I want you to look at here is just how simple this is for a pitch and catch. A lot of times on people running the swing or the bubble, when they turn and they run backwards, I actually got this from Coach Leonard at a clinic. I believe they still run their bubble screens like this. Derek Leonard out of Rochester, obviously one of the best coaches in high school football anywhere in the United States. They backpedal when they catch their bubble, so we tried it. It makes it a lot easier for the quarterback because he's throwing to the wide receiver's number. He's not throwing to their side. He's throwing right to their chest. In 5 years of running the bubble screen, we don't have stats on it, but just by memory, I only remember twice that we threw a bubble and it was incomplete. One time was a little bit behind the receiver, hit his hand, went incomplete. The other time was down on the ground. So it is a very simple throw. The quarterbacks love it. The wide receivers love it. We're able to execute this and get yards. There you can see our wide receivers locked on the perimeter. Watch the wide receiver show his numbers. There they are. Good throw, good catch, good yardage. Same thing, good quick throw, back pedal to the numbers. We got the blocking out front. Great job by our X receiver here. You can see the corner sniffs this out, shoots in to make a huge play, but our wide receiver is able to get a piece of him, make a big block. This isn't something that you can do overnight. I mean, we work a ton on throwing this and catching this and blocking. A huge portion of our offensive practice is dedicated to short game and just making this throw, and that's a huge reason why we've been so successful with it. Wide receivers moving their feet, blocking. Nice, easy 9 yards. This is sectional championship, first possession. We felt like we were going to get man coverage from them, and our quarterback, he gives our slot. Like I said, this is our H position right here, dynamic playmaker. He wants to just get it to him as quick as he can. He's got a cushion right now. Turns, throws it to his numbers. He's able to make some yardage. Okay, so all of these things in the good section here have been outstanding for us. They've all helped. It's all things we've developed over 5 years that we feel like has really boosted our offense. Package plays being the last one. I'm going to go into a little bit more detail on our package plays. So package plays, it's different than an RPO. Right now I know RPO is the craze. Everyone's talking RPOs, and that's great. I think they're great. If you get a good coach and a dry erase marker, he would be undefeated and win every game because there's no way to stop an RPO. We feel like the downside is the post-snap read is not easy for a quarterback. So the way we do our package plays, and it really helps at the speed that we're operating at, is the quarterback makes his decision pre-snap. And I'll get into that. It's not a ride and decide kind of deal after the snap. It's a decision that he makes pre-snap. It protects against really bad play calls. And like I said before, you will have some terrible play calls. But what we found out year one, before we had this, we went to the package plays in year two, and we've developed every year since then, getting better at it. What would happen in year one is our coach up top would say, hey, the slot has a huge cushion. Okay, well, that was 3 plays ago, and we're running fast. And I'm calling the plays from the field, and all of a sudden we call a bubble screen because, he told me the slot has a huge cushion. Well, whether they meant to or not, all of a sudden the outside backer's all the way out on the slot, and we had already called the play. You can't change it. It's already called. Here comes the bubble screen. I didn't know what was going to happen. I can still remember it plain as day. It was either going to be an interception for a touchdown or our H was going to get absolutely lit up behind the line of scrimmage. I think what actually happened was the outside linebacker couldn't decide which he wanted to do, and he ended up just getting his hand on the ball. It wasn't a big hit, just an incomplete pass. So what we learned from that point going forward is if we're going to call plays that fast, it's dangerous calling some of the plays that we like to call. And obviously I put saved coaching relationships there because I was hot when he told me that the safety had a huge cushion, and all of a sudden we throw that pass and he doesn't. Obviously it wasn't our coach's fault because he was right. 3 plays ago he did have that cushion, but it really upset me, and we said we just can't call it because we don't know if we're going to be right. So what we did in the offseason between year 1 and year 2 is we came up with these package plays and a good way to protect against that. The defense is always going to be wrong. You're going to put your team in best position to succeed. So I'll show you how we do this. The quarterback's going to take a quick look pre-snap. The great thing about these package plays, you can build them any way you want. That's actually really fun for us on Sunday night is how we're going to build our package plays. In the off season, sometimes we'll build one, and we're always coming up with different ideas on how to build these. But they have absolutely helped us from year 1 going forward. We feel like we've gotten a little bit better each year. And if we have a quarterback with a lot of experience, we'll give him a lot of these package plays in a game. If it's a first-year guy who's not great on IDing defenses and looking around, we might keep it simple for him. But if it's a guy that can do this, we'll I would say 25 to 50% of a game might be a package play call. All right, what we have here is our split zone package play. This is kind of a generic one. It never has to be like this, but this is one that we like to use. So what we have here, and the reason why I don't draw up a defense is because It doesn't matter what the defense is. Our offensive line is blocking inside zone right here. It's a split zone. We've got our Y cutting off the read man, the backside defensive end. So what our quarterback does is he takes a quick glance at the defense, and he wants to see if he can possibly throw the hitch out to our Z. He'll look. If he likes it, he'll snap the ball and he'll throw it. If he doesn't like it, he'll glance over H and see if we have leverage on a possible bubble out to the left here. If he likes it, he's going to snap the ball. He's going to throw the bubble. If he doesn't like it, now we're going to get into our run game. And that's exactly what the offensive line is blocking. They're blocking for a run even though we might pass it. So the quarterback's decided he didn't like the hitch. He doesn't like the bubble. We're going to go ahead and run split zone where he may give it to the running back, and if his read tells him, he may keep it. So actually, if you think about this, we could be throwing a hitch, 1. We could be throwing a bubble, 2. We could be running it with our T, 3, or we could be running it with our quarterback, 4. There are 4 things that could happen on this play that our offensive line has no clue. The coaches have no clue. The only one that knows what's going to happen is the quarterback, okay? So everyone does the exact same thing for this play, and one of 4 things could happen. And then I'll show you some clips on it. Okay, so here we have one of our base 2x2 formations. We call it wing. We've got our Y. He's in here as a wing, and it's just exactly the drawing that I showed you. We've got a hitch down low. We've got our slot running a bubble, and we've got inside zone in the middle. So we'll take a look at this. Our offensive line is obviously blocking inside zone. We'll see what the quarterback decides to do. He liked the hitch. I agree. Every time it works, I agree. Every time it doesn't, quarterback made the wrong decision. Just kidding. All right, here we're a little bit different in this game. Instead of a hitch, we had a quick now screen built in with a single receiver, and this is actually out of 3x1. So we did a little bit different this game. Same idea, same kind of package play. We've got split zone in the middle. You can't see him right here, but we've got a bubble from our slot. So our quarterback takes a look, and I can tell you right now, to us, this is nearly a 3-1 defense. So I really hope that he plans on running this one. And he does. Inside the red zone. Easy 5-6 yards on a handoff. Okay, I kind of want to show you. It looks like this is happening after a big play. You can see the chain gang trying to run down, get set. For some reason, the official's not allowing us to snap the ball. Here we're ready to snap it. Okay, we've got same formation. We've got wing formation, so we're going to have a bubble out here. We're going to have a hitch up top. And if he doesn't like either one of those, our offensive line is blocking inside zone. We've got a split zone concept in the middle. Likes the bubble, definitely agree. No one's in the vicinity. Easy yardage. Same game, same formation, 2x2. All right, looks like the defense is, they're more aware now on the field side. Still like the hitch. They gave it to us. Nice, easy yardage. So we do not have the hitch on this as the unbalanced formation. We don't have a receiver up top. We've got 3 receivers out here ready to block for the bubble, and we've got split zone in the middle. Quarterback decides the bubble doesn't look good. We're going to go with the split zone, get a good block by our Y there, and we spring for nice yardage. Here's 3x1, same idea. We still have split zone in the middle. We've got a hitch up top, and then our slot to the field is going to run a bubble. See what the quarterback decides. Like the run. We tell our quarterbacks all the time when we're running these, we practice these package plays all the time. He is never wrong to run the ball. Okay, so that's the default decision. If you can't decide, if things look cloudy, you're just not sure, just go ahead and run it. And I believe that's probably what he did right there. Another 3x1. We've got split zone hitch down at the bottom. We have a bubble up top in the field. There it is. Nice blocking out on the edge, 6-yard gain. Okay, here we created something a little bit different. This year we had a quarterback that could really run, so we went empty here. Again, same concept though. We've got, instead of a hitch, because we have an extra blocker down at the bottom, we run bubbles both at the top and bottom. And if the quarterback doesn't like either bubble, he's going to go ahead and run quarterback zone with the split zone with the Y as the extra blocker. Nice easy completion, throw it to the numbers, get 5 yards, go to the next play. Okay, and again, every one of these plays, our offensive line has no idea what's happening. Okay, it's their job on this play to block inside zone to the right. They don't even know we don't have a running back behind the quarterback. And that's no slight on the offensive line. They don't need to know that. They need to know that they're blocking inside zone to the right. That's all they need to know, and they're able to do that at a high level because we keep it so simple. Okay, our next package play that we like to run, again, you can create this any way you want. We have some that we like to run often. We have some we invent each week. Each off season, we probably come up with something new. And it's nothing new for our guys. All it is a combination of 2 or 3 different things that the quarterback gets to decide on. And like I said, it's real simple for the offensive line. It's not a new play for the offensive line. It's a blocking scheme. Here, when we run midline, it's inside zone. We just lock on with the defensive end. We send the linebacker up, we send the guard up to the linebacker, and we go ahead and read the defensive tackle. So on this, we're running out of a 2x2 spread formation. We've got a now screen to the right. We've got a bubble screen to the left. If the quarterback doesn't like either one, okay, that would mean to me that the defense is very spread out if he doesn't like either one of those passes, because we're in an even 2x2 formation. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and run a run play that we like to run, midline, if he does not like the now or the bubble. Okay, so here's our midline package play. Really like this out of the 2x2 formation. Really makes the defense commit to something. And as you can see right here, I can see, and this is one of the few occasions being on the sidelines and we see this, as long as we're on the same page with our quarterback, we're pretty sure he's going to run the ball here. I mean, this is a 4-1 box, and we'll take this all day long. Sure enough, he does. Offensive line actually does a nice job picking up a little twist. Quarterback doesn't like the bubble up top, doesn't like the now down at the bottom. I don't blame him. We go to the midline, leave the defensive tackle unblocked. He twists. That's a give. Running back makes a nice cut, easy yardage. Again, 2x2, exact same concept, exact same routes. We've got a now screen up top. We've got a bubble screen down below. And if you're like me, you can already tell where he's going to go. There is no one around the bubble. Get a good block. Camera missed it a little bit. Easy 10 yards. Kind of see what the quarterback's seeing here. All right. That's way too much cushion. Good block from our wide receiver. Okay, same thing here, 2x2. Up top is the now. Down here to the field is the bubble. Likes the now. 7-8 yards. This is a good shot, nice high angle. Looks like we're pretty much covered up with the bubble and the now. Those linebackers are clear out of the box. Quarterback makes a nice read. Off to the races. Again, he's looking up top. It's a now. Down low is the bubble. If he doesn't like either one, we're going to run it. Good read. Quarterback kept. Good gain, 7-8 yards. Look at it here from another angle. Going to read that defensive tackle. Same concept, 2 by 2. We got a now up top, bubble down below. Run a midline. Defensive tackle got his hand on the running back, but still able to get big yardage. Good decision by the quarterback. Here this is from the end zone. Good feet, good decision, able to get some yardage. And that's the end of my presentation. I'm going to leave my email address here. Like I said, if anybody has any questions about anything, feel free to email me. Just to summarize our no-huddle, we feel like the kids enjoy it because it is action-packed, a lot of exciting things going on with it. That's what they see on TV. There's not a lot of downtime. They like to be in that offense. We're able to run that offense. We're blessed to be able to platoon our guys. To have a full offense and full defense makes it a lot easier. And also the simplicity of it. For our offensive linemen, our wide receivers, our quarterback especially, it's a very simple offense to run. Once you get all the logistics ironed out and figure out how you're calling it in. But the way we do it, we like it. It's been successful for us. It might not be for everyone, but if you want to give it a try or there's anything I can help you with, feel free to email me at any time. Thank you.